In the middle of a vast desert, a group of boys are digging holes under the scorching sun. Suddenly, a rattlesnake appears nearby, and one exhausted boy, unable to bear the hard labor anymore, takes off his shoes to touch it and ends up losing his life. Meanwhile, in the city, Stanley is walking when a pair of shoes suddenly falls from the sky and hits his head, causing him to fall. Since his father is researching a cure for foot odor, Stanley decides to take the shoes home. But just then, the police suddenly arrive. They inform him that the shoes belong to a famous baseball player and were stolen from a charity event. Believing Stanley to be the thief, the police take him home and tell his family what happened. Surprisingly, his family isn't too shocked. They blame it on a curse said to haunt their family line. The police also notice strange things in the house. Stanley's father has an apartment filled with shoes, and Stanley's walls are covered with posters of the baseball star. With such coincidences, Stanley is taken to court. There, he is given two choices: go to prison or spend 18 months at Camp Green Lake for juvenile delinquents. Naturally, Stanley chooses the camp, thinking it would be easier than prison. Soon after, a bus carries him across the vast desert filled with holes until he reaches a small dusty camp full of boys in prison uniforms. Stanley meets Mr. Sir, the warden's right-hand man, who explains how the camp works. There are no guard towers or fences, just miles of desert and no water sources, so no one dares to escape. Stanley is given 2 sets of clothes and a shovel. Every day, he must dig a hole exactly 5 feet deep and wide, measured by his shovel. The longer he digs, the longer he's exposed to the harsh sun. He must also beware of rattlesnakes and deadly yellow spotted lizards. Later, Stanley meets Dr. Pendansky, the camp counselor, who gives him a tour and emphasizes rule number 1: never bother the warden. Pendansky assigns Stanley to a tent where another boy had died earlier. The kids all have nicknames instead of real names. The youngest boy, Zero, is called that because he almost never speaks. When Stanley accidentally calls one of them by his real name, they shove him to remind him only nicknames are allowed. At dinner, Stanley receives a meal of beans. Peter snatches it away, claiming he deserves it more since Stanley didn't dig that day. The boys ask why Stanley is there, and when he says he was accused of stealing the baseball player's shoes, Zero suddenly asks if they had a red X mark on them. Everyone is shocked when Stanley confirms it. That night, Stanley can't sleep and recalls his grandfather's words about the family curse, which explains why his father's inventions always fail. Even his great-grandfather once made a fortune in stocks, but was robbed by the outlaw-kissing Kate Barlow, who would kiss her victims after killing them, leaving a red lipstick mark. However, she didn't kill Stanley's ancestor. She only stole his treasure and left him to die in the desert. The next morning, the boys are woken before dawn and given a small breakfast and a shovel. When Stanley tries to take one, Peter pushes him away. It's Peter's personal shovel, shorter and easier to use. At the digging site, Mr. Sir explains that if anyone finds something interesting, they must report it. If the warden likes it, they get the day off. But, he adds, we're not looking for anything, it's about building character. As they work, Stanley reminds others not to dump dirt into his hole, but they just laugh. While digging, he thinks about his family curse. His ancestor, Shia Yelnats, once worked on a pig farm and fell in love with a girl named Myra. Seeking help, he went to Madame Zeroni, a fortune teller. She advised him to forget Myra and go to America, but Shia refused. Another suitor brought a big pig as a dowry gift, so Zeroni pitted Shia and taught him a trick. Every day, he must carry a piglet up a mountain, let it drink from the spring, and sing to it. The pig would grow stronger, and so would he. On the last day, he must carry Zeroni up the mountain so she too could drink from the spring. If he forgot, a curse would fall upon him and his descendants. Shia did as told for days, and the pig grew fat. But when Myra's father let her choose between 2 equal pigs, she couldn't decide and suggested a number-guessing game. Shia, realizing how shallow she was, left for America, but forgot to carry Zeroni up the mountain, thus bringing the curse upon his family forever. Back in the present, Stanley struggles to dig under the blazing sun. The first to finish is Zero. So fast the others joke he must be eating dirt. Mr. Sir mocks Stanley's blistered hands. Later, while returning to camp, Stanley sees Mr. Sir shoot a yellow-spotted lizard near him, saving his life. Days pass and Stanley slowly adapts to camp life. He wakes early, eats beans, and digs until his hands bleed. Sometimes dangerous creatures appear and the showers barely work. The boys tease Stanley, calling him weak, but he silently endures. In letters home, he lies that camp is just a fun summer retreat. One day, he finds a fossil and shows Dr. Pendanski, but the doctor says the warden won't care. He adds that the land used to be a lake owned by the warden's grandfather. This triggers a flashback, the once thriving town around the lake. A man named Sam sold special onions that he claimed cured everything and repelled deadly lizards. Sam loved a local teacher, Catherine, and brought her onions. She gave him jars of peaches in return. The town's men were jealous. One rainy day, Sam helped repair Catherine's leaking schoolhouse, and over time, they fell in love. When they finally kissed, a man named Walker, the warden's grandfather, saw them and spread the news. The townsmen burned down the school in outrage. Catherine ran to the sheriff for help, but he was drunk and demanded a kiss instead. When she refused, he mocked her, reminding her that interracial relationships were illegal and Sam would be executed. She tried to warn him, but it was too late. Sam was shot on his boat. Later, Catherine returned, killed the sheriff, kissed him, and became the outlaw kissing Kate Barlow. Back to the present, Peter warns Stanley to give him anything he finds next time. Later, Stanley accidentally bumps into a bully, but earns respect when he stands up for himself. The boys nickname him Caveman. Soon, Stanley gets a letter from his mother saying his father's experiments still fail and they might lose their apartment. Zero, watching him read, confesses he can't read and asks Stanley to teach him. Stanley refuses at first, saying he's too tired after digging all day. During another dig, Stanley finds a small object marked KB. The boys think it's a bullet casing, but it's too thin. Peter grabs it and brings it to Dr. Pendanski, who alerts the warden. To everyone's surprise, the warden is a beautiful woman. She praises the discovery, gives Peter the day off, and orders the boys to dig around the area. Days pass, but they find nothing. Eventually, she gives up and sends them back to their own holes. The next day, someone steals Mr. Sir's sunflower seeds. When he returns, the boys panic, spilling them at Stanley's feet. Stanley takes the blame, shocking everyone. Mr. Sir drags him to the warden's office. Inside, the walls are covered with posters of kissing Kate Barlow. The warden shows Stanley her special nail polish made with rattlesnake venom, then slaps Mr. Sir for wasting her time over something so trivial. She dismisses Stanley, who returns to find that Zero has finished his hole for him. Grateful, Stanley agrees to teach Zero to read. The next time he meets Mr. Sir, the man's face is scarred from the warden's nails, and he angrily refuses to give Stanley water. Stanley realizes that the small metal tube he found was likely kissing Kate's lipstick container. Another flashback shows Kate robbing Stanley's ancestor and burying the treasure in the dried lake before being caught by Walker and his wife. Instead of revealing where it was, she let a lizard bite her, taking the secret to her grave, cursing the Walkers to dig forever in vain. Back in the present, Stanley teaches Zero to read and write. Zero reveals his real name is Hector Zeroni, the descendant of Madame Zeroni herself. He helps Stanley dig faster, but the others grow jealous. Zero tells Stanley that his mother once worked hard to raise him, but disappeared one day, leaving him homeless. Later, a fight breaks out when another boy mocks Stanley. Pendanski encourages them to fight it out. When Stanley is overpowered, Zero intervenes violently, nearly killing the bully. Pendanski fires a gun in the air to stop him. The warden arrives, and when the boys say Zero has been helping Stanley dig, Stanley explains it was in exchange for reading lessons. The warden grows furious. Pendanski mocks Zero, calling him stupid. Enraged, Zero hits him with a shovel and flees into the desert. Mr. Sir wants to chase him, but the warden stops him, saying Zero has no family and they'll just erase his records and pretend he never existed. That night, the boys assume Zero will die out there. Stanley worries constantly, recalling the story of his great-grandfather who survived 16 days in the desert after being robbed by Kate. People said he found refuge at a place called God's Thumb, though no one knew what it was. The next day, a new boy replaces Zero. Upset, Stanley steals Mr. Sir's truck and drives off, but crashes it into a hole. He escapes on foot into the desert as the others cheer. The warden orders that his disappearance be reported only after 2 weeks, assuming he'll be dead by then. Under the blazing sun, Stanley walks endlessly until he finds Sam's old boat. Beneath it lies Zero, weak but alive. He's survived on jars of old peaches, the very ones made by Kate decades ago. Together they set out toward a distant mountain shaped like a thumb, the God's Thumb from legend. Climbing it is brutal. When Stanley slips, Zero helps him with a shovel but injures his hand. Stanley bandages him, and when Zero collapses, Stanley carries him up the mountain, just as his ancestor once carried the pig. At the top, they find a stream and wild onions growing Sam's onions. They drink, eat, and recover. Stanley sings the family song, unknowingly breaking the curse. Far away, Stanley's father suddenly completes his invention, a cure for foot odor made from peaches and onions. The next morning, Zero confesses a shocking truth. He was the one who stole the shoes. He took them from a charity event, not knowing they were famous, and later threw them off a bridge, where they landed on Stanley. Later, Zero was caught stealing sneakers elsewhere. Stanley forgives him, realizing fate brought them together. Meanwhile, Stanley's lawyer arrives at the camp after his innocence is proven. The warden angrily tells her to leave, but she promises to return with the authorities. After recovering, Stanley and Zero return to the digging site and find the buried treasure chest. The warden and Mr. Sir appear, but a swarm of yellow-spotted lizards covers the boys and the chest, keeping them safe. By morning, the lawyer returns with the police. The warden claims the boys stole the chest, but Zero points out the name engraved on it, Stanley's great-grandfather. The police take the chest and prepare to leave, but Stanley refuses to go without Zero. When the lawyer demands Zero's file, they find it has been erased. The police then uncover the truth. Mr. Sir is a wanted criminal, and Pendanski isn't a real doctor. All three are arrested. At that moment, rain falls for the first time in decades, and the boys celebrate joyfully. Days later, Stanley and Zero open the chest, filled with valuables and priceless stocks. Stanley shares half with Zero, whose first act is to hire a private investigator to find his mother, leading to a heartfelt reunion. Camp Green Lake is shut down, and the boys are sent to real rehabilitation centers. Stanley's and Zero's families move next door in a wealthy neighborhood, and their friends often visit. Stanley's father's invention becomes a massive success, and the famous baseball player now stars in their commercials, proving that everything was connected from the very beginning. What do you think about this movie? Leave your comments below and let us know. Thank you for watching.